So we talked about my favorite 8-bit Sonic game, Sonic Triple Trouble, a game that compiled all Sonic's antagonists into a single game, and even threw Metal Sonic in for good measure. It was a pretty satisfying experience overall, and the level design was pretty damn good. But now, thanks to Noah and Copeland and his team, we now have a 16-bit remake of Sonic Triple Trouble, Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit. And oh my god, this game is flat out amazing. This right here is an example of just how incredible a fan game can be. If you were to show someone footage of this game who was turned off to Sonic games years ago and they hadn't kept up with Sonic games, you could possibly fool them into thinking this was an officially licensed Sonic game. This is a true testament to just how ambitious, creative, and dedicated the Sonic fan game community is. While I take issue with the Sonic fandom as a whole, the fan game developers are truly incredible people and artists that have given a lot to Sonic fans, and it's free. These people do this literally for no money at all, just for passion's sake, and that is commendable beyond belief. So this game has been totally remade both in terms of level design, graphically, and music. Noah and his team had originally planned to preserve the original level design and upgrade it to 16-bit, but after infusing it with the Sonic 3 and Knuckles style of physics, they realized it wasn't going to work out so well. So he painstakingly remade all the levels, and boy oh boy did they do an amazing job. While there's still certain elements and set pieces remaining from the original game, make no mistake about it, this is a whole new game, built from the ground up, and it feels complete, finished, and polished. I encountered no glitches at all during my playthroughs, having played both the Sonic and Knuckles campaigns, and something has to be said for how well the testing went. When major corporations with huge teams of developers can't even get it right. Whatever bugs were reported have been fixed to my knowledge as the necessary patches were made available. So overall, this project was a major success, and the fan reception has mostly been extremely positive, and it's definitely warranted because this game is fucking awesome. So in an interesting move, Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit takes place right after Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and I really love how they decided to go with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles' Sonic 3 and Knuckles sprites to really carry over the consistency. You also have the ability to switch between Sonic and Tails on the fly for the first time ever, and it works really well. It really took us this long for a feature this good to be implemented, and it's in a fan game no less. So an opening cutscene shows us Angel Island emerging out of the water, floating once more just like at the end of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And then Sonic and Tails land on an undisclosed location as storm clouds set in. And as you traverse it, you'll feel the incredible, ominous atmosphere accompanied by foreboding music as you survey the fallen debris of the Death Egg. And you just know something will happen. Suddenly, the Death Egg robot comes back online and you're faced with a boss fight right off the bat. Sonic transforms into Super Sonic, and holy cannoli, what a way to start off this game. I mean, talk about first impressions. This is a fine howdy do to say the least. After destroying the Death Egg robot for good, Eggman will summon its broken off arm to come forth and slam you into the ground, releasing the Chaos Emeralds from your body. And Eggman snatches one up, causing the other 6 to disappear. And Eggman makes his getaway, with Sonic and Tails in pursuit. Fang appears on screen when everyone is gone, having obviously seen the emeralds. It's good to see that Fang makes his appearance here instead of how in the original game, where you have to enter the first special stage to catch a glimpse of him. I can't stress enough how magnificent this opening segment is. This truly made the game feel like the real Sonic 4 because the game directly connects to Sonic 3 and Knuckles, thanks to this fantastic little prologue. From here, you will traverse the original 6 zones, plus 2 added bonuses. Egg Zeppelin Zone, which is a bossless stage with heavy inspiration from Flying Battery from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and Sky Fortress Act 2 from Sonic 2. And if you collect all the Chaos Emeralds, you'll have access to the true final boss, which we'll get to that in a moment. All the stages feature tremendous music, and the upgrade is very noticeable. Noah composed these himself, and he did a bang-up job. And by bang-up, I mean these babies are fucking bangers. As I mentioned before, the stages are all redesigned with stunning expertise. Many of the stages have been cut down to 2 acts, with the original game having 3 apiece, and this makes a lot of sense because the 3rd act was usually just a short journey to the boss anyway. Great Turquoise Zone has a dazzling background, and you'll do battle with Fang as a mini-boss in Act 1. I love the transition from Act 1 to Act 2 as he uses the drill on his marvelous Queen vehicle to break away the ground, and you'll face off against a super-sized version of the turtle boss from the original game in Act 2, and damn, this guy has gotten a huge upgrade. Sunset Hill Act 1 has us doing battle with Knuckles, and what's that I hear? A remixed version of Knuckles' prototype music from Sonic 3? That's just simply glorious to hear. And we get another great act transition into Act 2 as Fang pushes a roller coaster into us, sending us flying down the track to the section below. I really love these transitions and how they really went the extra mile. The next stage doesn't just start up, there's a little story of how you get to the next part, and Act 3 is far more fleshed out, with it being way more than an auto-scroller, and the music is an absolute banger. Scrolling will soon stop, and you'll get more to traverse than just flat platforms and actually get to jump from train car to train car. Fang will show up and he'll chase you while shooting at you from this aesthetically pleasing over-the-shoulder perspective. And he'll end up throwing a bomb at the train, which causes a wall of fire that you'll have to outrun. Wow, this added a lot of excitement to the stage, and I really love this one. Noah and his team did such a great job reimagining this level, it gave me chills, it's that good. And you still get to face the super easy locomotive boss as well, and he's pretty much unchanged. Jungle Lyra Zone Act 2 has received a major overhaul as Fang now sends you plummeting into the depths of a temple. And this level has some really amazing labyrinth-like design, and it's a long one to boot. This is very refreshing to see an Act 2 stage look so different than the first. Also, there's an interesting twist after defeating the boss. In the original game, explosions would rain down on you, but now, since you're underground, it's debris. The Egg Zeppelin is next, and there's only one act here, and it's a little disappointing that there's no boss. And it's pretty short overall, but it's still pretty cool how Eggman sends you flying out the airlock, and you'll use your rocket shoes to make your way back onto the blimp. I really like how they implemented the rocket shoes here, and it's a really cool introduction to the power-up. You'll then destroy the engines, and you'll make a daring escape, and you'll end up in Robotnik Winter Zone. And I love becoming a snowball and smashing through barriers. This must be a nod to Sonic Lost World, but at least you don't have to be a snowball and navigate narrow platforms, so it's a lot better implemented here. Act 2 has an optional pseudo 3D snowboarding section where you're outrunning an avalanche, which reminds me a lot of Ice Cap in Sonic Adventure. You can shorten it or remove it altogether in the options. That's a nice bit of customability for people that just want to play the normal gameplay. This is a really beautiful looking and aesthetically pleasing stage that really gives Ice Cap Zone a run for its money, and you'll square off against Knuckles again, and the Penguin boss who has some new attacks. There's even a hidden stage to be found by falling into a pit towards the end of Act 2, which takes you to Purple Palace Zone, which is a recreation of the special stage temples from the original game. This is pretty cool, even though many of the original assets are not used, and you'll actually find the Pogo Spring here, which I thought was simply omitted from the game, because this is a really well hidden secret. Because I didn't even find it in either of my Sonic and Tails or Knuckles playthroughs, and it's a nice little nod to what was done when Sonic 2 was remastered for Android, when you fall into the pit in Mystic Cave and gain access to Hidden Palace Zone. But unfortunately, there is no boss here, and you won't be sent back to Robotnik Winter to face off against the boss. You'll just go right to Tidal Plant Zone. And Act 2 will see Sonic and Tails commandeering Tails' submarine, the Sea Fox, through the watery depths during a power outage. I love seeing this vehicle given the spotlight and its own stage for some refreshing variety. And now you have a submersible of your very own to do battle against Knuckles with, except it's not really Knuckles, it's Metal Sonic. And you'll get a third act in which you'll do battle with him as you rocket upwards using your rocket shoes. This is yet another cool usage of the rocket shoes and a really awesome boss fight. Then it's off to Atomic Destroyer Zone, and this stage is so much better than what we got in the original game for a really fun and fitting final level, especially when Act 2 in the original game was just a big labyrinth of tubes. In Act 1, you'll come across Fang, who's making his way through the stage as well, and you'll come upon him trying to fend off Metal Sonic. This is like a cutscene intertwined with actual gameplay, and I really love it. I love these little touches like this. It adds so much personality to the game. Act 2 features a gimmick very similar to Sonic Mania, where you'll have to complete multiple sections of a stage to progress, and you will be returned to the same room after completing one to move on to the next. This elevator section can be pretty tricky on your first playthrough because the platforms come at you pretty fast, and if you don't avoid the lasers from these Egg Robos, one blast will knock you clean off the platform, making for a decently challenging section. Act 3 is the same phases of Eggman from the original game, completely unchanged, and after you defeat him, you'll rescue Knuckles. If you collected all the Chaos Emeralds, you'll face off against Metal Sonic, who creates dark copies of the Chaos Emeralds and transforms into the super obscure Rocket Metal, a form of metals that was briefly featured in the intro of Sonic the Fighters. I love how Metal Sonic just manhandles everyone here. Damn, they really did this guy justice here, and it's my favorite portrayal of him. We've certainly come a long way from crashing into a barricade now, haven't we? Sonic will use the real emeralds and transform into Super Sonic and slam his ass into the wall. Damn, these cutscenes are fucking fire. Then it's off to space, and I love this fight, and the dash is here, and thank God it doesn't cost 5 rings. It actually costs nothing. The music is adrenaline fuel, and the fight has multiple phases, and soon Metal will transform into his Metal Sonic Mark III form, an incarnation that was previously planned to appear in the cancelled Saturn game, Sonic Extreme. This might sound absurd, but doesn't this look like a roboticized Cosmo? No, not that Cosmo, I mean this one from Sonic X. Well, it does to me anyway. Soon Metal will transform into an even larger form of himself, and then you'll get this awesome standoff as they push a void back and forth between the two, and if you win out, that's the end of the fight. Holy shit, what a finale. That's a hell of a fight. It's long as hell, but it's very well done. And before we move on, why don't you have a listen to this fantastic music? So how do you find the emeralds anyway? Well, the find 50 rings and find a monitor to get only one chance setup is thankfully gone. And in its place is finding giant rings. The content of the special stages is gone too. No more temples with timers and flying to collect rings. It's now a straight race against Fang, avoiding bombs, pitfalls, and gaining enough speed to maintain a lead on him by using dash pads and lightning bolt power-ups. You'll have to do 6 of these, and you can try as many times as you have lives or coins depending on what you choose in the options. I think these are pretty good, but I really wouldn't have minded seeing the temples flashed out in 16-bit. You'll also unlock Knuckles for his own campaign, and Fang and Metal can be used in the free play mode. Playing as Fang and Metal is awesome. Fang has a sweet looking double jump, and you can constantly fire off your pop gun, and if you spin dash, you get this hilarious animation. Metal gets his cool as hell head first charge, and this descending energy field. Also, you can play as Amy from the start in free play mode, and you can choose to use her moveset from Superstars, Origins, or Sonic 3 Angel Island Revisited. Damn, these are some nice extras, and they're definitely worth playthroughs of their own, despite not having their own unique campaigns. Super forms are available for everyone, yup, even Fang, but just like Amy, he just glows. Metal actually turns golden, but no Rocket or Mark III forms, so that's interesting. One of the most awesome things is when you go super playing as Sonic and Tails, they both go super. I was expecting it to be the one you had selected goes super while the other doesn't, but nope, this game is too awesome for that. So how is the Knuckles campaign? Well, it's very much like what you'd expect in the sequel to Sonic 3 and Knuckles with alternate level design. But it's not necessarily more challenging. You'll get an exclusive level of your very own as you traverse through Angel Island Zone, and it's not the same as what you saw in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and thankfully not the bite-sized version in Sonic Mania Plus. You'll meet up with Metal Sonic as he grabs Knuckles by the fucking throat and copies him, explaining how Metal was posing as Knuckles during Sonic and Tails' story. Knuckles even gets his own unique version of Atomic Destroyer Act 3. You'll face off against Fang, and he'll use all the tactics he used in the previous boss fights. Metal Sonic will then show up, doing away with Fang, and you'll face off against Metal as he switches between his true form and his Knuckles form, and it's really cool to see him glitch out when you beat him. And then you'll face Eggman, and I like the design of this fight. Even if it's not too hard, if you take your time with it, you'll beat him no problem. You'll end up getting captured in the end as Sonic and Tails rescue Knuckles as the two stories intersect. I think this was pretty cool to have a story that is set during Sonic and Tails' story, instead of it being set after, like in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. There's also a competition mode, which contains 3 types of minigames where you'll be able to choose Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, or Fang. I love how you can go into the options menu and change his name to Knack, which is exactly what I did. You can choose one of the 3 minigames to play by itself, or play through them all in a story mode, which is complete with still cutscenes, which is a nice little bonus. There's a balloon popping game, a race, and battles. The graphics are greatly minimized in this mode, but I love the artwork used for the cutscenes. This is an okay mode, but you'll play through it and be done with it very quickly. I don't really see myself coming back to this for any reason. And on another note, this mode actually crashes after the minigame is over. What's the deal here? I don't know if anyone's noticed this. I haven't seen anybody reporting it online. Not that I really care because this mode's not really that important to me, but it's just something that I thought should be pointed out. Overall, Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit is one fucking phenomenal game, and a real shining accomplishment in the Sonic fan game community. And it's so good, it actually surpasses many official Sonic games. That's saying something. That's really saying something substantial. It fits right into the Sonic timeline no problem and feels so authentic. I think we can consider this to be the real Sonic 4, although unofficial because it makes a more direct connection to Sonic 3 than Sonic Mania. Plus, does it really matter if it's official or not? Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit exists, you can play it, and therefore it deserves the recognition of a quote-unquote official Sonic game because it's one of the best. This game just hits all the right notes and doesn't miss a beat when it comes to what it's trying to deliver, and boy does it ever deliver. This game gets a definite recommendation from me, especially if you're someone who has been down on the current state of Sonic games and wishes things were like the old days, because this is the old days resurrected and done right. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Have you played Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit? And if you haven't, has my review convinced you to give it a try? And please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bells to get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and hit the dislike button if you fucking hated it. And any donations that you could give on Patreon would be greatly appreciated. And I want to thank all my subscribers for your continued support. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.